Alright guys, today I'm going to be installing some F30 brakes on my supercharged 330i. I think this is just going to be a quick video. I don't think I'm going to do step by step here because it's pretty straightforward for the fronts. So we've got these centric two-piece aluminum hat rotors. Sorry, not centric, these are Padgett. These are from Rock Auto for about 140 bucks each. Really good deal for the two-piece design. We've got new StopTech stainless steel front brake lines. And then we've got DS2500 Ferodo pads. I originally had the StopTech Sports on my 335i brakes, but I can't find them anywhere for the F30s. And the DS2500s are supposedly a better version of the StopTech Sports with a higher higher max temperature. So I just got those. These are super expensive. These are like almost 300 bucks. We've got a centric M3 E90 master cylinder, and that is to help with the pedal feel as the overall piston diameter of the F30 brakes is bigger. So the larger bore master cylinder is supposed to help out with the brake feel. Here's the F30 brakes. I bought the 340 millimeter version because the 370 or 380, I can't remember, the one that comes on the F80 M3, they can't fit on any 17-inch wheels and they can only fit on some 18-inch wheels. I've got 17s here, and so I'm not gonna get those massive ones because they won't fit. So 340 mil, and these are 4-piston. And then these are just new stock 335i E90 rear calipers that I just had painted to match. And I'm using these World reinforced caliper slide bushings. And they have a piece in there that reinforces them to avoid deflection. It's a middle ground between solid brass caliper bushings, which is what I have now. Well, you can't really see it on those. And I switched to these because you don't have to do maintenance on them like the solid brass ones. You have to pull apart the caliper and clean them and lube them every so often, and living in Seattle I've had to do that way more frequently with the rain. So I got these to try out as a middle ground. Looking forward to see how those feel. This is the current setup. These are ECS 2-piece rotors. Those are super expensive. They're like 900 bucks. So I didn't buy those new for the new brake kit because that's too much money for that. And these are the 335i calipers with the StopTech Sport pads and the World brass caliper bushings. Two-piece rotors are awesome because they're like 18 pounds, and I think the stock 335 rotors I weighed at like 24. So that's a huge weight savings of unsprung weight. So that's definitely a nice upgrade. In the rear, I've got these R1 Concepts slotted rotors and the 335i rear calipers with StopTech Sport pads as well. I am going to be keeping these pads and rotors and reusing them for the new painted calipers. And these are pretty similar to the rear brakes that come on the F30 with the 340 millimeter front, so the brake balance should be close enough. And these 335i calipers and rotors are the same as the 330i in the rear. And these front 340 millimeter calipers and these rotors are totally plug and play on this car. You don't need to modify anything. So that's a quick, easy mod. Forgot to mention I also have this Castrol React SRF for brake fluid. I really like this stuff for the street and track because it has a very high wet boiling temperature. And why that matters is if you're running brake fluid for a while on the street and you don't want to change it every time you go to the track or every couple months, and you want to maintain a high boiling temperature, most racing brake fluids have a low wet boiling temperature. So if you're not changing it every race or every couple months and there's any moisture in there, the performance is going to be bad and there's going to be a lower boiling point of the brake fluid, which is never good. So Castrol SRF is really good for the dry braking temperature and also the wet. So running this on the street and not having to change it very frequently is ideal for me. The only downside on this stuff is it's super expensive. I'm gonna get started with installing these brakes on the car, and I will update once I have them mounted up. Check that out, guys. That looks absolutely incredible. Shout out to Adam for doing a fantastic job on painting those calipers. Super stoked with how this came out. All right, let's check the weight on these rotors. ECS two-piece swing in at 18 pounds and 6 ounces. Pagid two-piece weighing at 22 pounds and 8 ounces. So that's 150 bucks versus 500 bucks. Now let's compare the calipers. We've got the aluminum F30 caliper at 8 pounds and 2 ounces. And the 335i iron caliper is 11 pounds and 13 ounces. So all in all, the F30 aluminum caliper with the Pagid two-piece rotor only weighs half a pound more than the 335i iron caliper with the ECS tuning two-piece rotor. So if you wanted to take this a step further and go to the ECS two-piece F30 rotor, it would be probably 2 pounds lighter overall. But for a brake upgrade, only gaining a half pound per side, I'm totally happy with that. All right, now we're gonna do this M3 master cylinder here. I already took off the M3 cowling and the cabin filters, and I've got this microfiber here. You don't want to get brake fluid on any of your nice stuff. It can damage paint, so make sure you contain any spills. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drain all this fluid with a syringe, and then I'm going to remove the reservoir, and so I can get to the master cylinder. If you're doing this, get a 50 milliliter syringe. I've got this 5 milliliter syringe. I'm gonna have to do this like 100 times to drain it out. Now I'm going to pull out this locking pin right down there in the master cylinder reservoir will pour it up. Now we've got the retaining pin out, we can pull straight up on the master cylinder. Be ready to catch more fluid when you pop that out. Now we've got a much better view in here, and you can see where that first nut is, and then the second one is right down there. So those two need to be removed, and the master cylinder will slide out, and also these two lines here need to be removed as well. Once you have that old master cylinder out, it's going to look like this. And actually, in hindsight, before you take anything off, I'd recommend jamming some rags underneath everything onto the bottom of the area over here to catch everything that drips. Because I did have a good bit that dripped down there, which is not ideal. Here's the new M30 master cylinder. This is from Centric. I've heard good and bad about Centric master cylinders, so I'm hoping it's good. Obviously OEM would always be better, but this was, I think, $70, so it's hard to beat. So the trick to getting this master cylinder in is you're going to come down at this angle right here and kind of slide it in to the brake booster from here. And also you're going to lift up on this brake line here, and that'll give you enough clearance here for it to kind of just glide in. You shouldn't have to force it at all. It should just kind of slide in there real smoothly. All right, my phone died, so I'm not exactly sure where I left off, but if you're at this point, you should have installed the new master cylinder, put your reservoir back on, and now you need to put brake fluid and get a pressure bleeder on it, pump it up, and then you're gonna start at the passenger side rear brake. You're gonna go to the driver's side rear brake, and then you're gonna go passenger side front, driver's side front, and you're just going to be bleeding from the farthest point away from the master cylinder to the closest. Bleeding brakes is super self-explanatory, and I'm sure there's other videos on how to do it, so I'm not going to film that. But essentially, you take off the dust cap, you put your bleeder container onto it to catch the brake fluid, and you crack the bolt open while you have the pressure bleeder applying pressure. Brake fluid and bubbles will come out, and then you close it and put the cap back on. Now, if you replace your master cylinder, you're gonna have to do the input bleed procedure. You can look on YouTube how to do that. People have already made videos, and I've already done that. So once that's all done, you are good to go, and enjoy your new 4-piston F30 calipers. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and leave a comment for the algorithm. If you need one-on-one help with your build, or you have any questions for me, the fastest way to get a hold of me is through my Discord. There's a link to join in the video description and also the pinned comment. Bye.